Hey guys, this is Feeding Frenzy coming at you again. This time with a topic that is just under such controversy right now, especially with the old Xbox thing, how they're gonna with the DRM stuff that they were gonna do, but they're not doing anymore. So used games really is just flooding the market right now. It's because, well, I don't know if any of y'all remember, but if y'all when GameStop first started doing that, or GameStop was really the first one to make selling used games popular. I remember when I first started doing that, and I was like, wow, I can buy these games and get. When they first started, they really had a lot of buy two get one free sales. I remember like almost every time I went to GameStop, it used to be buy two get one free for the used games. So I used to kill it. I used to just, I'm just being honest. I used to kill it. I used to be like, let me get 5 games, so I only pay for like 3 of them. So it was pretty good actually, buy two get one free. And then when they had the Edge cards, it just made it better. You can get Edge cards and get 10% off all used games. So really, as you can probably see right now, I support used games. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that because a lot of people are saying, it doesn't give the developers any money. It doesn't really support the gaming industry, right? But let me ask you this. What makes the gaming industry different from any other industry? I don't see people complaining about used cars or used pianos, or I don't see people complaining about pawn shops in general. I mean, what makes the gaming industry so different? Why are used games looked as such an evil thing when every single other industry has the same thing? You go with cars, TVs, computers even. Everything has like a used industry where that we know doesn't benefit the developers, obviously, but yet it still has it and no one complains. And I always wonder why. And even the industries themselves, other than gaming industries, don't really complain about how used games really affect the market. I mean, what makes games so special? Now, most recently, we've had a dev from Ready at Dawn, which is the makers of the God of War games, which is basically just a PS3 or PlayStation dev in general. Now, here's a quote from what he had to say. He said, I think the problem is right now there are retail outlets that are really taking everybody for a ride. You can't make a living at the expense of everybody else. Now, he goes on to say, I walked into a GameStop, asked for a new copy of a game, and without telling me, the store clerk tried to slip me a used copy and wanted to sell it to me for $5 less. He later explained, I flipped out in front of the guy. I was like, dude, wrong guy. You're doing this to the wrong guy. There are developers out there who are making games for years, and some of them will go down purely because the revenue stream is basically flawed and creating this place where developers don't see even a little part of the profit. He does say that he doesn't think, I'm not quoting this part, I'm just kind of getting a general lows. He basically says that he doesn't think they should stop used games, but they should really do something to get revenue back from the GameStop and places like that. So basically what he's saying is that, we shouldn't stop used games, but we should make sure developers get a cut. Now, I can partly agree with him on that. And if y'all remember, Nintendo made a statement about used games. They were like, make better games. Now, Nintendo can make this statement. Why? Because their first-party games sell better than, I think, anybody else's first-party games. Let's get an example. Mario Brothers Wii. Not Super Mario Galaxy. Mario Brothers Wii sold over 26 million units. Over 26 million. And remember, that's given the fact that it probably sold even more, but it was used. So you could, in a sense, say that yes, it sucks that those used sales will not go to developers and they won't go in the actual stats of the game sales. But over 26 million sold when obviously there were some used that aren't in that stats. Really says something about the qualities of their games. Mario Kart Wii sold over 33 million units. And these are all first-party games, and we know that Nintendo kills with their first-party, okay? That's just a fact. Y'all can say all y'all want about Nintendo, but they just kill with their first-party. So really, I think it was Reggie and Iwata both agreed, just make better games. If you want people to buy them new, just make them better. Now that was a little harsh, I'm gonna say. But I personally agree. Because let's not think of games, alright? Forget about games. Let's stop treating games like they're some type of special market that has to have its own set of rules. Let's think about movies. People have been selling used movies forever. From VHS times, people have been selling used movies. And no one complains. Nobody says, oh, used movies are killing the industry. We need to stop used movies from being sold. So I just trying to wrap this around my head. What do these devs think what makes them think that games are any different? With the car industry, you don't hear people saying, how dare you have used car lots? Let's shut them all down so that all cars will be new. And also, you need to ask yourself this. All those people who talk about how they don't like to buy used games, it doesn't support the developer. Have you ever gotten a gift from a friend? And not a gift that was meant for you like birthday or Christmas, but have you ever, like a friend's like, oh, I'm not using this anymore. Here, take it. At that moment, you got that gift is the same thing almost as you going to a GameStop and buying a game used. In a sense, someone else is saying, I'm done with this, so why don't you just have a crack at it? Now, no one, at least I know, would tell a friend, no, I don't want to take that from you because of it would not support the people who made it. Like if your friend said, I'm done with this book, you can have it. I wouldn't see someone go, oh no, I can't. I have to buy it because I have to support the writer. Yet people blame GameStop and use games as a whole for destroying game industries. People like this dev, which I'm not going to say the name of, but I don't get how that works. To me, used things mean that I own the product, I'm done with it, I don't want it to just collect dust. I can give it to GameStop, GameStop can give it to someone else, and they can enjoy the product. Now I understand that doesn't help the developers. But think of it this way, do used games really hurt the developers? For you to get a used game, it had to be new at one point, which means that someone had to buy that game. And the question is, would someone get the game new in the first place if you weren't able to sell it back? I don't know anyone personally like this, but I believe there are people out there who solely buy a game because they can sell it back if they don't like it. And there are people out there who would not buy a game if they couldn't sell it back, because then they would risk not liking it and not being able to do anything about it. I actually read this story once about this girl who basically bought All Stars and then sold it back like in 2 seconds, got like $45, so she got like almost all her money back for it. And people like that would not buy the game initially if they weren't going to be able to sell it back. So technically used games have helped the industry in somewhat. Now I understand what these devs are saying, even though I don't agree with it. I really do understand that they're saying that the used market really causes GameStop to make a killer of money. Let's just face it. GameStop. I remember when GameStop was like so low when it came to where it was, like positioning. And then I remember one year I just went and I'm like, why are all the game stores now GameStops? And then I found out that they basically bought EB Games and like all these other little places. I'm like, wow. And it was because, I'm not going to say it wasn't because it was. It was basically because of their use. They were the first to start out with a used thing, to buy used games from people and sell them back for like triple what they bought it for. Now I'm just going to state one little principle and then I'm going to kind of be done, because I went on a rant here, but I do feel strong about this. Used games to me is a good thing. Why? Because it allows someone who is done with that game to not just let it collect dust. They're done with the game. That person paid their $60 so long ago they don't care about it anymore. So they're going to give back the game for $20 because they just want something. They're done with it. They're like, so to them it's a benefit. Then GameStop gets to buy the game for $20 and resell it for $45. So they make $25 per used game, and then for them it's also a benefit, obviously. And then for the person who's buying it, they get to save maybe if you have a card, they get to save $10. So they're happy too. So really, everybody's happy in that situation except for the developers. And only certain developers, like the Nintendo developers, say they don't really care. Why? Because their games are selling like crab cakes. That bad example. I don't know why. I've heard that somewhere. Anyway, once again, this is Feeding Frenzy 91, and please leave me your comments on this, because this is just a topic I'm so confused about. I'm just confused. I know I said it in the video before, but this is just the main heart of the issue. Answer this. Why does the gaming industry think itself to be different than every single other industry? Why does it seem that developers really hate used games, when every other industry has a used industry as well? What makes the gaming industry think they're so special? Anyway, this is Feeding Frenzy. Like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.